A public safety plan going into place after a violent start to the year in Towson. What's changing as residents and local business owners are sharing their concerns? Decision day for the Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys is here. The fight to keep the charter school open as the city school board prepares for tonight's vote.
And after record high temperatures with spring-like conditions, it'll feel like winter again over the weekend. I'll let you know about the big temperature drop headed our way.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Two controversial issues on the table tonight in Baltimore as the fate of the Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys is up in the air. More than on that in a moment. We begin with Baltimore's new conduit deal as city council members are pressing BGE on the terms of that deal right now. Council members say they were left in the dark about the mayor's agreement, which gives the utility almost exclusive control over the city's underground conduit system. Mayor Scott insists he went by the letter of the law, but Councilman Eric Costello told us shortly before the meeting started the city council will have plenty of questions for BGE.
In my mind, I can't understand why the administration and BGE did not ask for a deferral, a postponement of BGE submitting their new rates. What I do know is that the mayor claimed that action was taken on this agreement, and BGE went to the PSC 2 days later and suggested raising our rates, and that's a problem to me.
Well, part of the BGE proposal includes a rate hike, which would increase your monthly bill by an average of $10 in each of the next 3 years. That's $10 a month. Also tonight, in less than 15 minutes, the Baltimore School Board will meet to talk about the future of the Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys, facing closure over academic and leadership concerns. The school claims those problems have been addressed and really are just technicalities. They don't agree with the city's findings. And City School CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises recommends the school stay open.
I will tell you that there was a palpable difference, and staff agreed, in the climate of a school that, frankly, a year and a half ago was in complete disarray. And that was not what I found when I walked in, unannounced, by the way. We will actually have a high-performing school for young men in Baltimore.
Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor will follow along with tonight's meeting. We'll have more on the school's future on the news at 10. A safety plan now in place after concerns about crime this year in Towson coming to a head when a 17-year-old was shot and killed this week. Maxine Stryker spoke with local business owners about the changes.
For the past several weeks, Towson has been grappling with a crime problem.
Is it just a string of bad luck that in 2 weeks there's been 4 major incidences? Maybe, perhaps. I really don't know where it's coming from or why it was so fast.
First, 3 victims were raped at gunpoint downtown, then a shooting and a stabbing Super Bowl Sunday. And on Monday, 17-year-old Trayshawn Harmon was murdered steps from the Towson Circle.
I think the community is so stunned because it's not typical for Towson. This is just not, so many incidents in such a short period of time is just not typical for our area.
The community has been on edge, and county leaders are vowing to get ahead of the crime and ease their fears.
Just coming here to enjoy things. You're going to walk tonight to walk the walk literally and show that Towson is, in fact, a safe place to live.
Just last night, County Executive Johnny Olszewski, police, and business leaders came together for a public safety walk.
What time do you normally see, like, when you talk about the large crowds, like around what time? Usually once the mall lets out, we'll start seeing an influx of folks leaving the mall to come down to make their way to Towson.
Olszewski says they're moving forward with grants for license plate readers and more cameras. They're even exploring hiring additional security to help police who will be stepping up patrols and more visible on the streets.
We're all taking this extremely seriously.
Nancy Hafford with the Towson Chamber of Commerce says she began looking into the measures already this morning.
I called my camera company, the guy that installed a lot of the cameras, and said, we need you here ASAP to put cameras on the back of buildings and alleys.
Hafford says she'll study areas that have successfully implemented private security, but she can't put a price tag on it just yet. Meantime,
Anything that they do is great. We will definitely be behind them.
Restaurant owners like Jill Pacco are hopeful crime will be curbed and business won't be affected.
We just need to continue with the lighting.
And Nick Zareski at Charles Village Pub says he's already noticing more police.
Everything will help. I mean, obviously, if you can blanket the community with police and cameras, and they're obviously, the police are out there working as hard as they can, and it can't be everywhere all the time. But, extra cameras and street lights and making it a more well-lit area will obviously help.
Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.
Maryland State Police could soon have a new leader. Governor Wes Moore has nominated longtime police veteran Lieutenant Colonel Roland Butler to lead the agency as it faces questions about discriminatory hiring and reports the agency used a quota system to achieve a certain number of traffic stops and arrests. Butler, who is the acting superintendent, said he intends to meet those issues head on.
However, holding people accountable for what they're charged to do, that's perfectly acceptable. I will not support quotas. I will not support inappropriate behavior. We're here to safeguard the communities and the people within Maryland. We will do our very best. I will hold people accountable. My executive staff will hold me accountable.
If confirmed, Butler would be the first Black person to lead the state police department. Rolling with picture-perfect weather in the Baltimore area today. Plenty of people out enjoying the spring feeling at Roosevelt Park in Hamden. Our harbor cam capturing the last gasp of daylight as we saw record-breaking warmth for this time of year. Jasmine is here. I love that we broke a record because next year when it's freezing on this date, we can be reminded of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so warm for February. We're talking temperatures almost at 80 degrees. We had a high of 79 at BWI. Now we're starting to see those numbers slowly fall, but if you're spending an evening outside, it still looks very nice as temperatures are in the 50s, 60s, and still in the 70s across much of the state. We are nice, quiet, and clear. Enjoy this weather because we are going to stay far away from these numbers tomorrow. We're looking at a 27 drop in temperatures, 52 for the high, and Saturday will be the coldest day of the week, feeling a little more like winter. We'll be in the 40s. There could even be a little bit of winter precipitation to go with that. I'll let you know the timing and where we could see flurries coming up in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. Well, fallout continues over Governor Wes Moore's plan to cut the Boost program, which helps families who cannot afford private or charter school enrollment or parochial school. Some Republican lawmakers argue the state's teachers union is behind the cut. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost questioned Governor Moore about his motivations to phase out the program.
The Boost program provides scholarships to low-income families to take their child out of a struggling school and go elsewhere. Governor Wes Moore is looking to phase out the program, while Republican lawmakers here in Annapolis are trying to restore funding. And at the root of this debate, according to political analysts, is the powerful persuasion of money and support. The problems inside classrooms across the state find their way to the halls of the State House.
It's really outrageous. We shouldn't be leaving these kids behind and their families behind.
Were Republicans looking to restore the $2 million proposed cut to the $10 million Boost program. Governor Wes Moore looking to phase out the program launched to help lift low-income families out of struggling school systems.
I can't imagine, and I don't want to think about what it would have been like without it.
Like Nefertari Lee, whose son got a grant allowing him to go to a private all-boys school instead of Johnston Square Elementary, which is one of the 23 schools in Baltimore City where none of the students tested could do math at grade level.
The school selections weren't great. I just don't think that this is an area that we should cut. We are ultimately cutting kids' futures if we do that.
Democrats likely not moving on the efforts by their GOP counterparts to refund the program.
So at this point, from your perspective, the legislation that was heard earlier today is essentially dead.
Well, it's going to go to subcommittee. I haven't read it in full, so I don't know all the ins and outs of what it does. You know, it could be dead, parts of it could be saved. I'm not sure. I think the path of the General Assembly is to phase out the Boost funding.
Republicans argue the hesitation to allow families to leave public schools stems from political powers.
The teachers union is very powerful, and they have come in time and time again and have been the main opposition to Boost.
Children in classrooms today are losing because the General Assembly has repeatedly chosen to pay more attention to the adults who work in the system, making them the winners, while the students in the failing schools lose.
Thursday,
Good morning. Happy first day of summer.
we questioned Governor Moore about the possibility of union influence.
The decisions that I make are my decisions, and no one is behind those decisions. As we're thinking about what needs to happen with public dollars, that public dollars should not be going to private schools. Public dollars are going towards ensuring that we're building a world-class public school system for all Maryland students.
But those schools right now where those students aren't a world-class school. So how does the plan work for the students who are facing those struggles right now?
Our philosophy and how we're going to address this is not going to be a measurement of defeat. We've got to make sure that we're working in partnership with the local jurisdictions.
Campaign records indicate the Maryland State Education Association donated $6,000, the max allowed, to Moore in April of 2022. Then on January 11th of this year, another $1,000 donation was made.
I think that in many ways, he's returning a favor to the unions for their endorsement.
Political analyst John Deedy says the teachers union was one of the first big unions to back Moore on the campaign trail, and now potentially flexing power it didn't have during the Hogan administration.
I think that something like this shows that the teachers unions definitely have a great deal of power in Annapolis, and they were shut out for 8 years where Governor Hogan didn't care what they thought.
While the future of the Boost program remains unclear, Moore says the current participants will continue to receive their scholarships. The governor's proposed cuts are part of the budgeting process, and lawmakers have the ability to shift some money around. Republicans say they'll try to do that to restore the Boost program, but they won't be able to do that unless Democrats get on board. In the State House, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Disgraced South Carolina attorney Alec Murdaugh takes a stand in his own defense as he's accused of killing his wife and son. Murdaugh admitted he wasn't entirely truthful about police about his whereabouts on the night of the murder, saying that he was paranoid when talking with officers.
I did lie to them. My addiction evolved over time. I would get in these situations or circumstances where I would get paranoid thinking. It could be anything that triggered it. It might be a look somebody gave me. It might be a reaction somebody had to something I did.
Well, prosecutors say Murdaugh killed his wife and son, arguing the motive could have been to prevent them from potentially testifying about 99 financial misconduct charges that he's facing. The defense argues he's a caring father who was wrongly accused after a mishandled investigation.
1 year in, the humanitarian and financial costs of the Russia-Ukraine war and America's role. How much has the U.S. spent? That coming up.
Well, tomorrow marks 1 year into the Russia-Ukraine war, and we are getting a better look at the toll that it has taken. But there's no way to know just how long this fight could go on or how much it would cost. Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thurman has more on these lingering questions.
Leaders of Ukraine and Russia both paying tribute to the loss of life over the last year. Tens of thousands dead, millions displaced. And then there's the financial cost, too. America's bill somewhere around $113 billion through last year, with President Biden promising more.
It's worth fighting for as long as it takes, and that's how long we're going to be with you.
But is there a point where it's too much? I asked White House spokesman John Kirby.
Nobody, believe me, nobody here at the White House wants to be having the same conversation a year from now. And looking back on 2 years of war, we want this to end as soon as possible. A negotiated settlement is probably the best way to get there. But Mr. Putin has shown no interest in negotiating in good faith.
Last May, 60% of Americans supported government aid to Ukraine. It's now 48%.
Certainly understand that some Americans have legitimate questions and concerns. But it's also important to remember that this war, though it's thousands of miles away, has already impacted life here in the United States in terms of the price of gas, in terms of contributing to the inflationary food prices.
Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, just sent this letter demanding proof to show U.S. money is being protected from waste, fraud, and abuse. And former President Trump at the site of that toxic train crash in Ohio Wednesday, criticizing President Biden's overseas spending.
I sincerely hope that when your representatives and all of the politicians get here, including Biden, they get back from touring Ukraine, that he's got some money left over.
Back to the question of just how long this could last. Russia is more isolated than any time since the Cold War, yet it has begun another new offensive with reportedly 300,000 troops in the pipeline. And that may require more manpower and money to counter it. On Capitol Hill, I'm Scott Thurman.
Right now, you're taking a look over the harbor and over Towson. It is nice and quiet and clear. It's also pretty warm. There's not much happening on the HD radar, but we do have a weather maker on the way, and that's going to end our very nice warmth that we had today. 70 for the current temperature with clear skies over Baltimore. Winds are out of the south-southeast around 9 miles per hour, so we have a light breeze. Temperatures are mainly in the 50s, 60s, and still the 70s across parts of the state. We actually broke our record high temperature for the date, hitting 79. Compared to just 24 hours ago, many of us over 20 degrees higher, but we are going to see an end to this warm trend as we get ready for this cold front to move across our state. It's over the region now and will pass over our state tomorrow. That's going to lead to a big drop in temperatures, and you may want to pull out the jackets again. Overnight, we'll stay quiet and clear as temperatures fall to the 40s. By the afternoon, we only rise to the upper 40s and the low 50s, but we'll have plenty of sunshine throughout the day. We'll stay quiet for the first part of the night. Then after midnight, more clouds arrive as we head to daybreak on Saturday. We could be waking up to a few flurries, especially to the north and to the east of the city. These do gradually start to taper, though, as we head into the afternoon. Then the clouds also clear, and we're in for nice and dry weather for the rest of the weekend. Expect a big warm up on the way on Sunday as our temperatures rebound to the 50s. We are looking at a mostly dry weekend, other than the chance for a few flurries on Saturday. Monday will bring the next chance for rain, followed by a few scattered showers possible on Thursday. 48 for the low temperature overnight. This is actually where our high temperature typically is around this time of year. It could be a little bit breezy at times, otherwise it'll be quiet and mostly clear. By the afternoon, temperatures reach 52, which is still above average. However, it could be breezy with gusts up to 30 miles per hour. The big cool down, though, does come on Saturday as we deal with winter-like temperatures, but a warm-up follows. Coming up, I'll have a look at the exclusive 10-day forecast and just what to expect for the rest of the weekend.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
What a storm. Record snowfall in Portland, Oregon led to accidents across the region. Many people simply abandoned their cars on highways overnight or chose to sleep in them until morning. Southern Michigan faced an ice storm that knocked out power to nearly 800,000 customers, while strong winds and snow produced some serious drifts in Minnesota, like these up to 2 feet high.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
The drug meant for diabetes patients is going viral for celebrity weight loss. I'm Angela Brown in Washington, D.C. We'll tell you what doctors say you can do if you can't find Ozempic.
A diabetes drug is now a weight loss sensation among the stars, causing major supply chain issues for patients who depend on the medication. National correspondent Angela Brown shares what patients can do if they can't get their hands on it.
The drug we're talking about is called Ozempic. Doctors tell me one solution is switching to another diabetes medication. The only problem, it may not work as well.
Ozempic is everywhere. The commercial with the catchy jingle running constantly. Now trendy on social media, even getting the nickname the skinny pin because you inject it. Dr. Justin Kobe from Cedarville University is frustrated by all the weight loss hype.
I'm kind of disgusted by it, if I have to be completely honest. If we have type 2 diabetics who are desperately need to get that A1C down to improve the longevity of their life, and folks are being misprescribed it because of their celebrity status.
The wealthy are using it as a wonder drug for weight loss. Elon Musk tweeting last year, fasting plus Ozempic, Wegovy, no tasty food near me. And celebrity doctors are prescribing it.
My doctor, my anti-aging doctor, just hands it out to anybody, right? I didn't even know I was on it.
High demand, low supply. Pharmacies can't keep it in stock. The FDA approved Ozempic to manage type 2 diabetes. Without that medication, blood sugar levels may spike. Doctors say a side effect is weight loss, not the purpose.
A provider who prescribes Ozempic for weight loss is really prescribing a drug that's not approved for weight loss.
Novo Nordisk, the company that makes Ozempic, told NBC News in January that the availability of Ozempic has improved, but supply issues still remain. Meantime, doctors say patients should look for other options.
There are other medications in the same class of drug that we can switch to, but eventually we'll run all that supply out. I think another answer is going back to the old guidelines and using other medications that are readily available, like metformin.
If you are going to make the switch, always check your health insurance to make sure that new medication is going to be covered. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
It was a nice and warm, record-breaking day with spring-like temperatures, but it's going to feel like winter once again as we finish out the week. 52 tomorrow, and it will be breezy at times. Then we fall to the 40s and below average on Saturday with mostly cloudy skies. On Sunday, highs return to the mid-50s. We briefly fall to the 40s on Monday. That's when we have the next chance for rain. After that, we're in the mid-50s on Tuesday and again on Wednesday. Upper 50s on Thursday with a chance for a few scattered showers. And as we head into next weekend, our temperatures remain once again above average in the 50s. Mary?
Jasmine, thank you. Well, finally tonight, hospitals can be a scary place, of course, for children, and that's why Spirit Halloween puts the fun in funding with the Spirit of Children program. They are on a mission to make hospitals more welcoming for children and their families with the support of Maryland hospitals. Spirit of Children presented Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital's Child Life Department with a donation of $115,000. To date, the group has raised $683,000 for Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital. It's an incredible place. Well, that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud is next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. Enjoy that weather.